Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back to Thrash or Be Thrashed. Today, I'm going to talk about something that that's been on my mind for a bit, and I've been thinking about doing a video about the early days of music trades and before the internet, when we as metalheads, used to write to bands and become friends with them and we become pen pals. And so I thought I would show you a few letters that I've kept from some friends of mine who are in bands and are still in bands. And yeah, we'll start off. I'll show you this record. Letter. This is a band that I have known for a very long time, a band called Godless. Uh, they were and still are a black and death metal band. And I used to write to the main member, Azradel, and we are still good friends on Facebook. And yeah, we used to always chat and talk, and they'll send me stuff like it's really old logo that he drew. What else? And a whole bunch of letters. This is another letter, and this was in the times when the internet was not available to order stuff. We used to do write letters, and it's one of those things that we don't do anymore. Everything's done on the internet, and it's more quicker. But I really do love this sort of thing, and I wish it would still come. I know people do VCLT and sending parcels. It's not quite the same, and like getting a letter from a mate and from overseas. This is another band that I used to get in contact with. Hugh Stoltz from the band Dead, which are a German death metal band or grindcore, and we used to correspond with each other back in the day, and I still kept the letters. So because I'm a stickler, an old school fan of metal. Other bands that I used to write to is another band out of Israel, a band called Bishop of Hexen. I used to correspond with the main vocalist back then, called Balsamon, and we used to tape trade and send letters. And if you don't know Bishop of Hexen were or are still black metal. So yeah, so I do love this sort of thing, and I kind of miss it. The old days have long been lost with the art of writing letters and corresponding and tape trading. So these are things you remember back in the day, and and I kept these letters and flyers and photos, and because it's a bit of a nostalgia, bit of metal history. Some of these bands are no longer around, and it's good to have these little mementos of these groups. Most of these letters and stuff that I do have were basically sort of the early 80s, 90s black metal bands that were around. Like I said before, YouTube. You used to find in magazines the address, and you like the photos that they show of the bands, and you would write to them, and you would order tapes, and that was my beginning of my tape trading back in the late 80s, early 90s. So, what do you guys out there think? Do you think, you know, writing to bands and the old school way is still the way to go, or the internet, going to the modern times? And do you, or have you kept your correspondence with bands that you used to write to and to buy their stuff, like their demos or LPs or T-shirts back in the day? I'd love to hear your stories about those days. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope to see some correspondence, and hopefully a lot of you guys out there will have some cool stories about your early days of writing to bands and getting their demos. So thank you for watching, and stay heavy and get thrashed.